Thanks, son.
Good evening and welcome to this edition of the Hot Seat this Friday, the 20th day of September in 2022. I used to say in the year of our Lord until Timothy Kaligera turned everything around and said, now you believe in God. I don't believe in God, of course. I believe in not in the Christian God and his son, Jesus Christ, having raped someone else's wife or someone else's fiancé to produce a son.
Andrew, if Andrew, I want you to say the same thing to say about Christianity, about Islam, and then we see your courage. Yeah. Try that.
I don't know much about Islam. I am saying I don't know much about Islam. So
you read a lot of books. You have a lot of books. Let me give you until December. Learn a bit about it. Yes. When you've learned a bit about it, come on radio, say those same things say about Christianity, then we'll see what happens.
Yes. we surely still need our host alive.
First of all, I disagree with what he's saying. In other words, he's saying I should go out there to try investigate in order to attack Islam. I'm not interested
not attack. No. Just talk about Islam, exactly the same thing say about Christianity, then we see what happens.
Islam.
Then, as I'm saying, Andrew, you have 2,000 books at home. There's one more book you can buy called the Quran. Read about it. End of December, you come on air with some basic information, then say the same things about Jesus Christ, about Muhammad, then we see what happens.
Yes. So first of all, your prejudice against Muslims.
It's not prejudice. It's not prejudice. Andrew, you're dodging this topic.
I'm not dodging.
I can give you 6 months, read that book, or I can brief you about it.
I want to say things that come naturally to me. You're asking me that I should go out of my way, buy a book, read it, understand its details, purposely to come here and provoke Muslims.
No, but I'm saying you find it so easy to say these things about Christianity.
Can I tell you, Tim?
Go on, say the same things about Islam. I was born in a
Christian family.
But you became an atheist, so you can also learn a bit about Islam. Your mind is open-minded.
I'm not an atheist. So I was born in a Christian family. No, let me first finish.
Okay, so you're a former Christian.
This piece of bashing, because Christianity's greatest strength is that you can even bash it and life goes on.
So Tim,
try some other religion.
What do you think would happen to Andrew if he provoked?
I will want to see what happens.
No, we want to do a scientific study.
Read about it, study. After you've got enough study,
observations,
then
and we
come
write
out and give. I haven't said attack. I just said give general. Basically, the way you're talking about Christ, say the same thing about
Muhammad.
This thing or Islam. Then we see what happens.
So I'm going to say this. Really, this is unfair of Timothy Kaligera. I was born. It is like right now saying I should go and read about Buddhism to say any statement about it. I want to speak naturally, not because I have an intention to provoke a Christian or a Muslim or a Buddhist or a Shintoist. I don't have that interest.
So I'm also saying, that's what I'm saying, just the way you're born in an Anglican family, but now became the new fashion of these what I call half-baked people. They're neither scientific nor religious, but they're always bashing Christian, which is okay. So like I'm saying, I can give you 7 months. You're a good reader. You read widely. Your mind absorbs things.
But why?
Why? To just
see. Out on a mission.
Yes, to just see. A balanced view.
No. We know his passion for knowledge, for research, for investigation and empirical studies.
So your point has been.
We want to tap on your.
Christians are very liberal.
That is not true. The Christians, if we read of the Crusades or the Inquisition, the Christian wars in Europe that lasted 30 years.
So, like I'm saying, try that same.
So I was telling you this, Timothy.
I can bring you books on Islam.
Can we offer the books?
I'm not interested in them, by the way.
Why are you not interested in them? You're a broad-minded person.
Yes.
You've defended gays. You've defended all sorts of people. Surely you can read.
Just one more other subject.
Just one more religion.
Guess what?
We admire your brain. We think you can do better.
He defends the gays using the Christian path.
Andrew,
you defend your gays using the Islam.
No, Isaac. We admire Andrew's knowledge, passion, and zeal for scientific, investigations and studies. So we're just saying the country would do well using your brain for just this particular study. Just one.
But this is what I'm saying. I really think that if you're to study something, it should come naturally, not a bait on a radio station. Right now, you have made it unfair. Can I tell you, I read psychology, I read physics, I read philosophy, I read religion.
Okay. Maybe we should ask.
Now, I am going out there deliberately to read about Islam, to come on radio to criticize it, in order. But you said to talk ill of it. Okay. Assuming I read it and come on here, I say Islam is the true faith in the world. Okay.
That would be fair enough.
Let me say that.
Perfect.
I want to say that even without reading, even without doing research, Timothy has asked me, I think that Islam is the greatest faith in the world. Everybody should get circumcised and become Muslims.
Alhamdulillah.
Okay. And since our discussion is, we're going to discuss President Museveni turning 80, we're going to discuss his 80th birthday. I also want to recommend President Museveni, please convert to Islam. You need to
what is that?
His name was Kasim.
Actually, Museveni, Salim Saleh, Kasim, what was his other name?
Ahmed Mbayo.
So I think that let us on his 80th birthday say that the president should become a Muslim and Uganda should become a Muslim country. So now you've gotten what you want.
I've got in a corner. Let's put it that way.
Anyway, guys, so I want us to discuss. President Museveni turned 80 years. When Museveni came here, that's almost 38 years ago. I don't know whether anybody thought that 40 years later, the man will still be having his fingers on our nation's throat. The country is choking and he's tightening the grip instead of easing it. Isaac Kayoni.
80 years. For me, the thing that stands out is that, look, this is a president who never celebrated a birthday until maybe his 75th. You know, not because. Before he wrote the Sowing the Mustard Seed, he was trying to guess his age and everything.
Which one? Which one of the two?
Whichever, the first version. The first version. No, but for me, I see that you can't divorce his birthday celebrations from the politics of the country. He's obviously now participating in the politics of birthdays. It's out there, and I think he's just he's doing what is in
I want to ask Timothy, because all of you were born when Museveni came. When Museveni came here, it never happened for us for the first 25, 30 years. Let me say the first 30 years. I never had Museveni celebrate a birthday. I have ever attended one of his birthdays in Wachtora, I think in 2013. That's 11 years ago. And it must have been the first birthday. It was a very quiet event. Nobody was informed. And I think there was just a family dinner and nothing much.
And you were there?
Yes.
Yeah.
In the family dinner?
Yes. Yeah.
He's a member of the family.
Just for clarity.
For a man who went for honeymoon with
2013 or 2014. And I think it was the first ever for them. And of course, I can understand now that he has grandchildren, he has his children. People may bring these pressures. But for you, Timothy, from Museveni, who was a Marxist, and these are bourgeois romanticisms, what do you make of this change where now the birthday of the president or the first daughter, the first son become major national events?
I've written something incidentally for the Sunday Monitor on that 80th birthday, quote unquote, because a few of us know it's not 80, and we also know he wasn't born in September, but that's a whole different story.
Why do you say he's not 80? I think he's 75.
I talked to his sister, and she gave me a different part of the year, a different half of the year. But that's, as I say, another whole topic. And
actually, I'm interested in here.
There's a man who has.
Many people say that Museveni's age is not the one he has declared.
There are people who say, but that man, when I was in Ntari, I was in S1, he was in S6. I am now 80. He can't be 80. But as I say, all this is off the record. It's off KFM.
I want to interrogate this question honestly because I want to ask you, at what age do you think Museveni went to P1?
As I say...
No. Just answer.
No, but let us go back to the birthday.
From your guess. At what age do you think Museveni went to P1?
As I say, I don't know. But as I said, if you look, all those Godfrey Binaisas, Yusuf Les, born in the 1910s, 1920s, all Museveni's age mates, they all know their age and whatnot. In those days...
I have asked a simple question. Guys, could we guess at what age did Museveni go to P1?
But you've asked the question. Let's first answer the border thing, why the birthdays now.
You cannot answer it.
But you see, Andrew, you cannot use education to determine his
actually,
age, because
it is a very good proxy.
All those Katagayas, all those Ruzindanas of Chamate Primary School all know their ages. There's this one person who allegedly did not know when he was born.
Did Museveni go to P1 when he was 25?
No, of course not.
At what age do you think he would have gone to primary one?
The age of his classmates, the Katagayas, the Ruzindanas, and
let us assume
who all know their
maybe
birthdays,
10.
Except
10.
one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
if you follow 10. Museveni's age, as he has declared it, Museveni went to P1 when he was 11. That is what leads me to believe that his age is true.
His age is not.
Museveni finishes university when he's 26. People finish university at 21. So I find that strange that he finishes university when he is 26. That's when he finished university.
But that was the trend at the time.
Guys,
So,
why are you making why are you making your heads ache? The president does not know when his birthday.
He actually very much knows, but that's but I won't say it.
No, he doesn't know.
we wouldn't know.
I think that he has a projection of a
He
fate.
doesn't know. He just said they used to use some beans when this event happened.
Yeah.
Crops were grown. Just trying because
No, he does
from
mention
the hospital there were no records.
Yes, he
there were
said
no records.
the mother told him he was born the year a king in Ankole had died. That's what he says in the original master sheet.
Not the edited one.
There is the revised version.
There's a revised standard version, which is now in the
edited.
But
in the village we say edited. In town you say revised.
the
Yes.
King Yoweri version.
So let's use the original one. The president says he was told by his mother that he was born in the year a king had died in Ankole. And the king, King Jikahaya, I think, died in 1944. So he took that as the year. Then one day I saw them, I think they went to Ntungamo there to church records and found a church record of his baptism in a church book. But let's say they really forged it. It also rhymed with it. Yes. But so if he approximates that he was born around the time the king died, it would be either 43, 44 the year he died, or 45 if the mother made a mistake. In which case his age is fairly accurate.
So the difference is not big.
It would be 1 year. And then me, I look at it, when he finishes university at 26. I find that a very advanced age because ideally people finish university at 21. So he has an extra 5 years. And that leads me to believe that if a person goes to P1 at when they are 6, they finish at 21, then Museveni went to P1 at 10 or 11, in which case his claims are fairly representative of his age without much to lie. And if you understand Museveni the person, and I'm sorry to find myself in a position, Museveni is not a person, he's such a concrete person, I think he would not likely lie on his age. You can see the way he has. Yes. Yes, he's a very concrete person. He does not try much effort to pretend on anything. You can see the way he dresses.
Can I ask a question?
Andrew's naivety.
Why are we debating the man's age?
Okay.
We will spend the last 30 minutes trying to understand whether
I
he's
think for me
80 or
the
what.
argument here is the discussion on Museveni's age within society is not so much about his age, it's so much about his abilities as he grows.
Okay, let's take
older.
another break. When we come back, we shall come.
For me, I thought that was the debate.
Welcome back to the edition of the Hotseat, featuring a part of the most experienced journalists discussing. Guys, keep quiet. There is a war in the studio. So I have Isaac Kayonde, I have my son Franka Mujimba, I have Joseph Sabiti, I have Jimmy Odoki, I have Chefe Ayebale, and I have Timothy Kaligre. We're discussing Museveni's age. And you are trying to run out from the most important controversy about his age. Museveni must have undeclared his age by 10 years. So the man is right.
No, and the reason I would say, and then we go back to the wider thing. The reason is there's that vagueness about his age isn't because of any, as you say rightly, he's in the same rough age as his contemporaries, give or 1 or 2 years. 1943, whichever. In some of those years, if you went, I think, beyond some month, if you're born, let's say like around December or November, let's say 1943, they count it as like a fresh new year. So there's that 1 year, 1 year plus or minus years. The real reason for the cloud over his age and his date of birth is, of course, more like this thing that's been over his head since 86 that can't go away about his origins. Is Museveni a Ugandan or is he from Mozambique? But about the birthday, now
okay, Timothy, explain to us.
What do you think when fighting Mozambique?
How does Museveni's date of birth and age affect his the claim that Obote used to make that he's a Munyarwanda?
That's what I was saying.
Assuming he says he was born in 1940. Yes, because we know what you are saying. Assuming.
What am I saying?
First of all, I also think that there's a large likelihood that Museveni ethnically could be a Munyarwanda because he has even relatives in Rwanda, and Moses has stated this on Twitter that they have relatives there. And coming from Ntungamo in a border area there, it is very probable that the people there are Banyarwanda who converted into Banyankore. Because they know there are many Bachiga migrants who came to Uganda and converted into Batoro and adopted Kitoro culture. But that aside, many people have contested Museveni's age. When they look at his
really
classmates, Elia Kategaya, Museveni was 2 years older than him. Ruzindana, Museveni is a year older than him. Matia Kaseja was, I think, a year ahead of him at Intare. Matia Kaseja is 1 year older than Museveni. Practically every single thing I check, and when I look at him finishing university at 26, I find it odd. How do you finish university at 26?
But
Tell us at what age did you finish university?
Some of us joined university when we were teenagers. We spent half the time just playing. We were surprised. We never did
in other words, plus or minus, Museveni's age is
okay, okay, Andrew, away from that, let's go to the broader question of the celebration. And I've written something for the Sunday Monitor.
Thank you, Tim.
Buy a copy of the Sunday Monitor. If you can't buy it, steal it. But the summary of it is that I said ironically, as you just said right at the beginning, they've never been, as a family, into all this celebration, everything. And ironically, Museveni now follows the footsteps of his sons. But I tie it with all these things we now see today, where I guess there's a lack of accomplishment in Uganda that's now being treated as in escapism. Everything's now either homecoming or anniversary celebration or anything. So I think this general feeling of the more vulnerable you are as a society or as a company and whatever, the more this tendency to celebrate things becomes a new way. So now, as you get more and more shaky and vulnerable, and as I said, the article explains, you know there are fractures inside the Museveni's family. If you don't know that, then
I'm not aware.
If you're not aware, then let's switch the microphone and the right person hosts the show. Anyway, so the tension inside the family, and some of this idea of hey, it's to put up the show of for us, like it was in late Obote, 1984, 85, the later years when clear tensions were within the government, and then more and more of the emphasis on the Heroes' Day, because now Museveni is the only remaining uniting factor, not just in the government and the NRM party, but also his family. So the more reason for you to amplify what it is that he stands for. That's why they had to have this video photo exhibition of his life and times and everything. That's the politics.
Guys, I want to ask you, Chef, I want to ask you before I come to submit. Could it also be that Museveni now has children, his children have children, and their children are supposed to, are likely very soon will have children in turn. So he's likely to become a great-grandfather. And because his kids are raised in a modern middle-class environment and his grandchildren in that, I would also imagine naturally, I'm sure, pressure would grow from his grandchildren and his children to say, okay, let's celebrate your birthday. Because previously he was a Marxist, now his children and grandchildren would see things differently, and therefore he would be convinced as an old man that maybe this is something you should do. Because I don't celebrate birthdays, but you never know. Many times I'm under pressure to do so. I'm turning 112 on 3rd October, that is exactly 2 weeks from today, and I may also host one.
I find that very difficult to believe, especially since he's not the kind of person who has succumbed to those kinds of pressures before and elsewhere. And as you write in your Chitezi article, he has become the last point of... he's built a cult of personality over his 40-year governance, because if I say rule, you might ask why. But over that period of time, he has built a cult of personality. Which
what do you really want to say, rule or governance?
Governance,
without fair one. without being intimidated by
over a period of 40 years or 38 years, his family has also partook into that construction of that personality, and so now they find it compelling or fitting or befitting to celebrate him this in a much more pronounced way than they did in the past. So they too are, I don't want to say victims, but they have also subscribed to...
Okay, we come to Joseph Sabit. I thought that I would say now, as Museveni stays longer in power, and all debate on succession has retreated to his family, maybe he's becoming an emperor like Augustus, and therefore the celebration of his birthday is going to become a national event. That's what happens with an emperor or a monarch.
Fortunately, everybody did not say that.
I actually thought Andrew would give us a bit of context. He attended the first celebration. What was the idea behind it? You were there at the family dinner. What were the discussions? What was the whole concept?
I personally think that, like any other person, his children and grandchildren have initiated him into the idea that let's celebrate your birthday, and he's entering the modern age.
Yeah. What do you think he thought about it? What were his views about it then?
Well, as you grow older, I can attest to this, you become flexible enough to listen to your children and grandchildren. Previously, he was a revolutionary, but as he grows older, you can even see his attachment to Mama Janet, his attachment to his children and grandchildren. You develop certain softer elements, and that I feel is...
If we were to examine your theory of emperors, would we say the same about General Muhoozi celebrating his and the father now adopting to that?
I think even Museveni never used to celebrate the birthday, by the way.
I'm just saying the reasons behind them, could they be similar? Could they be the same, similar?
Yeah, absolutely.
What are those similarities?
You explained something about emperors and how then they retreat to personality cults. And I'm saying that two gentlemen, the most powerful in a family, are exhibiting the same traits. Would you...
The fan is not imitating the son.
I don't understand your question.
Sabiti.
No.
Make your point.
Okay, no. I really want to benefit from... You said something fundamental. You were there from day one of the celebrations.
Not from day one.
The very first one.
What concept of being the first luncheon.
Absolutely. Fact. Then you said emperors. Huh? When they have built personality cults and things like that, they begin to...
The word personality cult.
You said it. I am quoting you verbatim. So I wanted...
so many words.
I know it's
So I wanted to ask if you thought there was a relationship between father and son celebrating the...
I'm betting $10. If in the rewind, I use the word person. I think that Museveni has gone into an emperor. He has stayed in power.
Okay, are the reasons the same for father and son celebrating their birthdays more openly and stuff?
I think that Moses is different in the sense that when he turned 48, the driver for the celebrations were his supporters and fans who organized it. Most was the first time, and they made it a very big thing. It was to launch him and his political ambitions using his birthday. And he was a follower of that movement, not an initiator of it.
So the question is that Museveni using that same thing to do exactly the same?
Andrew, is he now a believer? He was a follower back then. Is he now a believer?
He's a reluctant leader of
Is he a believer or not?
I said he's a reluctant leader of...
he's now making appointments. He's now...
Yes, but I say he's a reluctant leader. That's what...
Reluctantly making appointments, constituting teams, constituting a secretariat.
Yes,
and
yes.
Okay.
Reluctantly.
No further questions.
Sabiti, really you're a very smart guy.
Yes.
Assuming Mohozi was very keen on the presidency,
Aggressively pursuing it.
with all the resources of the state, how much mass mobilization will be taking place in this country? Because I am inside PLU. I don't think that PLU is doing much really, because if he was to put his weight behind it and he was not reluctant about it, you would see much more effort in it.
But Andrew, following his...
Why is it not stopping it?
You want a military fly past? What more?
What else do you want?
What surprises me?
To say that there is something very big happening.
You have a secretariat running in Naguru. You are making appointments across the country. You are soon appointing village spokespersons and stuff like that.
Andrew,
taking place?
are you saying
I thought
that
so.
you're ignorant of the fact that Muhoozi is putting up a spirited fight to join the politics?
No, to take over the presidency, not to join politics.
You have seen a spirited fight?
Yes.
Absolutely.
From his tweets and from his demeanor. He has asked, listen, there's a time, and you went there, you rushed there and, calm the waters or whatever, when he tweeted about his resignation. And who do they call? Andrew Mwenda. Strictly within maybe an hour or so, he's
Go
there
and ask an arranged question.
Saying, no, come yourselves.
Yes.
Consistently, even after the Kenyan debacle, he comes out of the meeting with his father and he says, and excitedly, he says, please watch out for
Okay,
this.
let's take another break. When we come back,
8 p.m.
welcome back to this edition of the Hot Seat.
You know what? The problem.
20th day of September.
It's been
Friday, September 20th.
It's been the old 2005 the John Garang kind of hot seats, the type that almost gets UCC like an.
Okay, I have Timothy Kalegen, I have Chefa Yebale, Chefa goes to phone and give it to me. I have Chimo Doki, I have...
Jimmy has decided to become a spectator. Please.
So guys, we go back.
He's an ex-official of the show.
Because we're going to lose the other bigger picture I wanted us to discuss. Okay, we are trying to discuss the significance of it. Maybe Museveni is becoming an emperor. Maybe as he grows older, he's becoming much more attached to his children and grandchildren. They're advising him. But let me say this. I believe that as Museveni has grown older, he's physically and mentally exhausted. And yet, the management of Uganda under so many years of his leadership has been driven largely by his ability to personally control so many of the elements that are always flying in the air. And I'm just putting this on the table so that I can hear your opinions. Now, you, Jibe, you have not spoken. Frank and Jibe have not spoken. We'll begin with you, Frank, because you're on the microphone.
Okay, this is what I think, because the question was about how Museveni has changed. That then he did not, he was so conservative, he did not celebrate birthdays. I think I've even watched, I think it was the late El Tumuine's wedding, where he could not even give out a cow, something like that, because he said he did not have cows then. So he was that conservative person. But I think that as time has gone on, like any other person, even we here, the way you used to think maybe 10 years ago, 20 years ago, or things you used to do, or things you did not believe in at that time, I think after some time things change. Maybe because sometimes you are not working then, but now you have a job, you have money, you have a new set of friends that you interact with, and you get new ideas. So things change. Maybe the same is happening with President Museveni. Maybe then he did not have such a family that he has a middle class family that he has right now, daughters and grandsons. Yes, who could influence? Yes, who could influence him? And now he has grown. He has come of age. I can use maybe an example of Sabit. I know he will not get annoyed. Maybe then when you were still a journalist, maybe you wouldn't afford to take a trip to Dubai. But probably that now you have maybe
eating with Anita more
on the money. Now that he's on the money.
So a holiday in the Bahamas.
Guys, let's be calm. Let's be calm.
So maybe if you could explain as to why you have changed over time, the way you used to, the kind of life that you used to live when you were still an active journalist, and the kind of life that you're living now. So I'm saying, yes, President Museveni is like any other person. He can change and do things in any other fashion. Yes.
Okay, and
I also agree. When you get older, you listen. The children demanded, when were you born? And then started the celebration. It's a new thing. The younger people, I think many years ago people never used to really celebrate birthdays, but now it's a very big thing. But it's also two-front. Museveni will.
So you think I should also begin celebrating mine?
I think.
Well, you're already 101. So.
It's when you go to Cafe Javas and you see these people beating drums, and many years ago, did we see that? I think it's a new, and all people, parents listen. If your children demand and they organize for you, but again, this celebration is more of anything that brings many people. Museveni takes advantage of it because it gives visibility. You're being talked about. It's more than just a birthday celebration, because many people come together and you pass on the message. And it's always, when you have very many people, it's an opportunity for campaigns and passing on your political messages.
I think it's not about celebrating birthdays alone. It is the nature of the celebration. For it to become a national event, for ministers to come and line up and greet him, for people to drive their cars, civil servants to drive their cars to Luwero on a weekend, for it to have that prominence, for it to be that loud, for it to be that pronounced.
Is that the part that surprises you?
Yes, I think so, because if they were recently, on Robani Memorial Cup, there was a birthday in State House. They didn't mobilize people. Civil servants didn't drive their cars there. It was, of course, pictures came out after, but they organized a birthday that was not as pronounced. It was not a national event. So for me, my interest is in it becoming a national event.
That's
magnitude.
That's self-explanatory, because one, President Museveni has, like in his house, you know the biblical saying of "in my father's house there's a lot of room for everyone." The man has ministerial positions to ditch. He has business deals to pass across. He has appointments into plum, statutory bodies and stuff like that. So Timothy Kalejera, who hopes that he can keep his job, he can stay in cabinet, must go and pay homage. It's a simple practice in politics. So how many ministers do we have? 87. I was talking to a protocol officer today who said even those who were not invited went, and special forces guys bounced them and they found them bargaining at the gate that I am a minister. Said, but where is your invitation? So the concept of people going to pay homage to a leader who can make you a minister, who can make you a member of parliament, who can appoint you an ED is self-explanatory, my brother. But also the other part is that even those, if Isaac Kayonde thinks he wants to be a member of parliament, he must be seen to be no, in support of the revolutionary leader, and he will not mind driving his fuel guzzler to Luero to eat a piece of meat. These are the realities of politics.
As I've explained in the Sunday Monitor article, basically we're now in full-blown Kim family, Oma Bongo sort of thing, and so all these things you see. The personalization of the state, the re-nationalization and re-centralization of the economy. Because, when they opened up the economy in the 1990s, when the economy was doing well, Uganda was opening up, people got tired of government and went into private practice. Now that private practice and the private business is slowing down, all this collapsing, we're now going back to the old, so like central command. It's only when in government jobs that can give you government jobs or government tenders or government access, and the profit margins are now reduced in the private sector. So you're seeing more and more of this thing. What we saw, as I said, in the latter years of Obote too, the first family is now the Uganda government in all essential terms. Last week here, Andrew said General Salim Saleh is a co-president of Uganda. I was going to say co-pilot, but that's an AI term. So that's the reality. So in other words, every event, every excuse, every little moment, I just don't know how Museveni is holding back that last one stage of his face on the banknotes and naming, the airport after himself. But that's where we're inching. That's just the logic. When you've killed off the opposition always must manifest, and that's what we see now. So basically, we're at the petty stage.
Yeah. My takeaway from everyone's submission is that, look, his birthday is no longer really an event of we are celebrating a birthday. It is being used as a political tool to mobilize. And for me, it is a thing that he has adopted because he has seen it work for his son. And the proponents of his son's political ambitions and those who are opposed to it are now saying, okay, if you can do it, then we can also do it. And you see,
but I think that Muhoozi's 40th birthday was prior to Museveni's 80th birthday.
Yeah. What I'm saying,
it's not that Muhoozi's supporters are saying because Museveni can do it, you can also do it.
No. I'm saying because Muhoozi can do it, right? The proponents of Museveni, Tova Kumeina, are also pushing that agenda.
Are you saying
no, Isaac?
Muhoozi didn't do it, Museveni would not have done it?
I don't think so. Nobody. It always takes that demonstration.
Isaac, there's no fundamental apart from Andrew and a few others who have expressly stated that the president needs to retire. Many supporters of General Muhoozi will say, "I support Museveni. I also support General Muhoozi." It's their standard line. Apart from Namialo, who I don't think is in our right senses to go outright and try to hit at MK and stuff. The rest are actually saying we believe in the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. So you cannot draw a clear line between supporters of General Museveni and supporters of General MK.
No, the clear line I'm trying to say is the method of doing things.
I want us to come back to the issue of the 80th birthday, which was really done not within the family, not within the state house. It was done in
No, the invitation cards came from the daughter.
Natasha.
Yes, Natasha. So it means the family played a pivotal role in that organization.
No. What I'm saying is, Natasha could have held it at State House or at her house, but it was taken to Luero, the birthplace of the revolution. And
absolutely.
There was great political significance in that.
Yes, the family organized the event, but you see, President Museveni no longer belongs to the family. 40 years in charge of the country, he is more of a father of the nation now. So what do? We have 2026 around the corner. You have a president probably who can no longer run across the country like he used to in the previous elections. So you go back to the mecca of the revolution and do one significant event there. It could also be a pointer that, look, the general...
But in fact, you're repeating your point, because I told you in 2013 or 2014, I attended a birthday luncheon at Rwachitura.
Yes.
There were very few people there. It was just a family affair. So in his old age, maybe this should have been a family affair. The fact that they went out to take it to
Luero
and link his 80th birthday to the revolution, there must be political significance to that.
You see, when you attended
even if the organizer sending out the invitations was the daughter Natasha.
When you attended that luncheon, it was a younger President Museveni, more popular, probably more respected across the country. He did not need a birthday as a mobilization tool.
For me, I don't even think that President Museveni has changed his mind on birthday celebration. He is just simply using this as a political mobilization tool and accepting that, okay, if this is going to get me attention and everything, that should be it. My only issue my last submission on this is that, look, we may discuss the individual till the cows come home, but for me the significance of it is that it has effects on the society, and its effects may be positive or negative. The negative aspect about it is that because they have started highlighting his age, the difference in the generational gap between and like I said, we were talking about this, Muhoozi has tweeted before talking about the generations, the difference in generation. And for me, amplifying his age and everything and bringing it on board is simply going to go further in entrenching that, look, he is way out of our...
Okay, we have to take another break and we'll be right back. Welcome to this last segment of this edition of the Hot Seat featuring Timothy Karyegera, Jime Odochi, or Odoki. Then we have Chefe Ayebale, Joseph, can you get off that phone? Joseph Sabiti, Frank Mujimba, and Isaac Kayole. So Isaac was earlier making the point that the more they announce age, the more it becomes evident that Museveni is distance from when, because I think 80% of Uganda's population,
below,
maybe below something like 40. So people about 40, like me, at 112, I think I'm the only person in this age bracket, 0.0001. But I have this sense that Museveni's biggest problem with the youth is not his age; it is perhaps his distance from their lived experiences and their aspirations. And I don't want to give this example, but I'm forced to. So Kagame this year in November turned 67 years. That's a big difference for most Rwandans. But when you go to Rwanda, young people really identify with him. Because when there is a game of basketball, Ball is in the stadium in the arena with them. The arena was built because of his efforts. Rwanda has an ultra-modern arena. They have a sports stadium competing in quality with those of the Europeans, and he will be at the game watching and cheering. He will visit the team when it is training. When there is Kendrick Lamar or any other star, including the Pretty Tyler from South Africa, they have come to do a concert. He'll be at the concert, maybe go to the stage, give a speech of 3 minutes or 4 minutes, then walk away. But kids there, I feel, see him. People in Rwanda, like in the rest of Africa, are crazy about the English Premier League, the European leagues. They see Visit Rwanda and they know their presence is directly involved. Sometimes he goes to these European stadiums and watches soccer. Because of his activities and involvement in things that the youth care about or are crazy about, they connect with him, and you can just even feel in the air the amount of love, affection, and attachment they have, because they feel he pursues and promotes the things through which they express themselves. So here it's not just a question of age. Even if you're 80, 90, and you're involved in these kinds of sports activities, not as an active sports player, but promoting these kinds of sports the way Amin did here, because Amin was deeply involved in sports, perhaps because he was a sportsman in his young age. He was playing rugby, playing basketball. So if I was in any way involved in Museve's activities, it is just to get him to get also involved in young people's things.
So I think the president has told you before that he looks at it as public PR, and he says he doesn't believe in that kind
but
of...
so why does he campaign? The campaign is a public relations. Every single thing he does...
No, but the president, in every word he says, in every statement he writes, keep referring to the Wazukulu. It is not a mistake. In everything that comes out of his mouth says... No, I'm just saying... Actually,
it could be endearing. I feel like the way Museveni says it, he comes across you at poor young people. He's patronizing.
Absolutely.
I will give an example of Ho Chi Minh. He was a revolutionary leader of Vietnam. I mean, there is a way he connected with young people. They used to call him Uncle Ho. Yes. But there's a way he played with young people, even kids of 5, 6, 7 years. They would go to him with his grey beard, grey hair. He was like a small man. He was... I actually feel like Museveni can actually, because he's a nice grandfatherly character, if he was properly, if he related to young people in a particular way, he can even call them Bazukulu as a form of in an endearing way. But the way he does is patronizing. I mean, there was one thing, they published a picture of him with his grandchildren. They were like kids seated in a classroom, and there was 500 meters between him and them. I mean, I felt it was like, that's not a cool grandpa. Kids climbing over his head. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because Museveni is an endearing person if you get closer to him. And
but they were playing cards.
But the examples you're giving are people who are 67 and everything. This is an 80-year-old person.
I also feel that your advice is good, but for a wrong person.
But for, I mean,
let me ask you guys, I don't know whether you follow Lee Kuan Yew. Lee Kuan Yew died in his 90s, right?
Yeah.
Up to his death, young people, there's a young boy, he was 16 years old, Amos Yee. he put up a video on YouTube saying Lee Kuan Yew is dead and celebrating why Lee Kuan Yew died. But when he went back to school, kids at school were harassing to beat him because there's a way Lee Kuan Yew, even as he grew older, two things. One, as his government has lasted in power for 60 years, the more it has kept modernizing. Singapore every day reinvents itself as if it's a private company. Yeah. That is one. Two, Lee Kuan Yew himself remained quite endearing and attached to young people, and they were so mobilized on his side in his 90s. Museveni is not in his 90s.
As an NRM supporter, I think that is where we can borrow a leaf and say, look, we have been served. NRM has given us a disservice and has not put, like for example, you're talking about Singapore. Singapore's children, right from primary, talk about having their curriculum a study about how they came from Malaysia, how they had formed a union with Malaysia. I think it is in their curriculum. They know the importance and significance of Lee Kuan Yew, which here, to this day, I'm say, look, who knows, if you go to Rwanda today, they make sure that genocide, they have documented it, they have shown the people, they have, it's in their lives day to day. So they are able to connect. Now, NRM is just picking up, and I was seeing the museum that, not the museum, the show that the daughter had organized for the president at his 80th. I said, that should be somewhere permanent, somewhere where people can go and see. Now, that's why I told you before, and I think I was having an argument with Timothy Kalijira, that NRM's problem is that they do things, they make errors out of omission other than commission. They don't know how to do some of these things that would entrench them in the longevity of their stay.
Who was saying that Museveni doesn't like PR? Because, Museveni...
He said it himself, yeah.
But there he was just... I think he was misunderstanding. I have a background of why he said that, but he was misunderstanding because when he was in the bush, he was involved in siyasa. Museveni is every day addressing rallies. I think Museveni knows that he needs to go and sell himself out there by articulating his agenda and his program and why. So in the bush, it's called siyasa. That's why they have a political commissar. That's why he has an RDC. That is an attempt to put even Jesus Christ and God, who is almighty, all-knowing. He has a church in every village in Uganda. Every day, every Sunday, they are preaching and campaigning for God.
You don't believe in God.
I don't need to believe in it. I'm simply saying I don't need to believe in Lee Kuan Yew or in any other political party for me to say that it is mobilizing people on a daily. So Christianity, God, they claim, is all-knowing, all-seeing, and all this. But every day they are campaigning. Even on the street when I was coming.
In Islam, gold is called Allah. So let's use Arabic.
When I was coming at the roundabout, there were people preaching to me. They are preaching the word. But how can Museveni say him?
But Andrew, let's look at it this way.
Evangelists.
Maybe it's a question of the concept of PR and President Museveni selling himself to the people. Tomorrow is Saturday. On every radio station across the country, there's a compulsory radio talk show where RDCs will be appearing. Across the country. Across the country, at every funeral, there's an RDC there talking about President Museveni and the revolution and things like that. He has built a structure that gets the work done for him. What Isaac wants, is the cool kind of politics of but
no, I'm saying, look,
playing ball, going to dunk the ball in a basketball court and stuff like that. Listen, this method has worked for the last 40 years.
It has worked.
And I can tell you this. What you're talking about is the conversation you can have with Andrew. He takes you to General MK and you talk about how to dunk basketball and stuff like that. The 80-year-old General Museveni will stick to his revolutionary methods of using RDCs. When he goes into an election, he has all the LCs, 97% NRM.
If I could ask,
yes.
Uganda over the last 40 years has really changed in practically every aspect of life. You cannot say that tricks you were using for the last 40 years
exactly
change.
Exactly.
I think the system has to repeat itself. I would agree with you that Museveni's greatest advantage could be that most of Uganda's population has remained rural and poor, and therefore his old ways of RDCs works. But when I look at UCC figures, we have 9.6 million Ugandans on TikTok. We have 8.6 million on 8.5 million
out of a total population of about,
well, you could say a total adult population of about 23 million. population. Even if
when
15 and above, maybe 30 million. But can I tell you, whatever the size of the population, Museveni got 6 million votes. Am I correct? 6 million actually. Yeah. If 9.6 million are on TikTok, whether you're marketing a product, a cause, or a candidate, you must be interested in those 9.6 million people.
Out of those 9.6, on election day, 5 will be recording naked videos and dancing on the streets. They don't give a damn about your elections and your politics.
You have made the point.
Yes.
The aim of politics is to bring them to vote for you.
You see, if the 6 million makes you... if the 6 million makes you president, you don't need to sway them. Let them continue posting naked videos and dancing. Maintain your base.
My experience.
Maintain your base. Let these ones keep dancing naked. You're still president.
Let me give you my experience.
Yes. So what you have done, you are saying that I got 6 million votes, but there are 9.6 million people out there on TikTok
who will not vote.
I'm not interested. Yes. Assuming your opponent finds a strategy to get them to the ballot box, 9.6 million.
Future impossible tense. Future impossible tense. It will just not happen in this country. On election day, yes.
I will not hire. You know why? Because never take anything for granted. In politics, never take anything for granted.
We're encouraging.
Guys, we have come to the end of this show. Thank you so much for joining.
I would encourage them to stay posting naked videos.